Mark, today we look at a movie where a predator hunts his prey, which I'm sure you can appreciate is exactly how you behaved when you quizzed me when I was very unwell. Heads up, revenge is coming, my friend.
Nice, but you don't scare me.
Before I forget, you want to die tonight?
The cheaper, nastier, the better for me.
Would you have stayed after this?
Sorry, man, I was completely off guard there.
He's in his coffin. He's the undead.
This was the best bit of the film.
This is not the last time someone's going to steal your man.
Yeah, Mark's not a nice guy.
But you didn't notice this scene. It looks like he's got an extra leg.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I've literally got nothing here. Surely that'd be even worse. The more listeners we have, the worse that's going to be.
Yeah, but I will just get a new phone.
Oh, I tell a lie, actually. Yeah, because we used to have teletext.
Art the Clown makes Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees look like pussies.
I can only assume that this was due to budgetary reasons and they couldn't afford enough extras.
Are you going to have Buster Rhymes in your list of characters?
Mate, I can't believe you don't know Idle Hands.
I'm going to ram my foot down his fucking throat. It was awesome.
It fucking wasn't awesome.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into the You Run Podcast horror movie review. Just in case the title of the show didn't give it away, we review horror movies selected by you, the listeners. My name is Scott.
And my name is Mark.
And we are your joyous hosts, and each week we take you into a deep dive in a movie. We give you facts, fuck-ups, and everything else you could possibly imagine to keep you entertained throughout the episode. The joy of our show is we do not have to do it alone. You help us give you movie scores, your own reviews. We pick the best ones of those and give them a read. You can also get involved in the show in other ways as well. So you can call the show, yourunpodcast.com, or send me an audio DM on Instagram, or make a TikTok and tag me, and I'll steal the audio from there and play that too. We also like to try and help other accounts reach more of an audience. And that's a feature we do every week, which is called
Recommended Account of the Week.
So this week's recommended account of the week is press.play.vhs, that's his search handle. His actual handle is Nostalgia Squared. His bio reads, "Greetings, I am Andy and welcome to my nook." And that is probably the best way to describe this account. He has a nook, and this is the most incredible nook I've ever experienced in my life.
What is a nook?
I don't know. Whatever this guy has.
Okay, I don't know. You're going to tell me what it is, but I already want a nook. I want a nook right now.
It's basically just a corner of a room. I think it's like a room. It looks like an understairs cupboard where he hoards all of his geeky stuff.
That's cool.
A bit like my office, if you will. And he has on his back wall, he has like about 10 different televisions, all retro televisions, and they're all interlinked. So if he puts a VHS in the player, it comes up on all the televisions on the back wall.
That's cool.
Imagine like when you look on like 80s films and they walk past a video store and they've got like various sized tellies in the window, but they're all playing the same channel.
Yeah, so like in Ghostbusters, where they're all watching the news in the shop window, and as the things walking through the city in Ghostbusters 2, like that.
Yeah, like that, or like in the 90s in the UK when people used to like congregate around Curry's or Thompson's window to check the football scores on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
it's like that kind of thing, but cooler. He's got a plethora of VHS and DVDs and anything nostalgia bait that you can think of. But what's really cool is he just posts videos of his nook in the same location every time, and it's always like an iconic scene from a film like Rocky or Dirty Dancing or They Live or Back to the Future. Anything you can think of that is nostalgia baited, this guy will probably play it at some point on one of his reels or his videos. It's just a really, really cool visual channel to follow.
Yeah, I'm following them now as we speak.
Yeah, I think it's really, really fun. I think a lot of people will appreciate this if they don't follow it already, because it's really, really cool, especially if you like the kind of stuff that me and Scott like and everybody else who tends to tune into the channel. I think this is a lot of fun for a lot of people. And you can find that at press.play.vhs. And as always, be sure to let Andy know that we sent you there if you do go and check it out. yourself. It's cool. It's cool, and I feel like a lot of people would enjoy this channel, which is why I brought it to your attention today.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I've just followed him now, and I'm going to go and check out his stuff in a minute. And everyone else do the same. Please don't do the same. Follow the recommended account. That's why it's there. This week, we take you back in time for a prequel to Predator in Prey from 2022, a movie that shows you don't need high-tech gear to deal with an invading alien, and it always pays off when you're a good boy. A first watch for Mark, and honestly, probably now about a millionth watch for me. I have no idea what Mark thinks of this, but I'm pretty sure we're both coming with strong opinions this week. Here's the trailer.
Why do you want to hunt?
Because you all think that I can't. I saw a sign in the sky. I'm ready.
Maui, Nita.
There's something out there. I'm coming with you.
You can't.
I'm trying to protect you.
Protect me from what? It's time.
It knows how to hunt. I know how to survive. Whatever did this, I can kill it.
If you're new to the show, listeners get to score the movies. This is done on our Instagram stories on a sliding scale. We usually put up a movie a week, so keep an eye out on our stories to go and score them. This week, we have the highest scoring movie of the year with a 9 out of 10. And
Wow.
This was pushing a 10 out of 10. It was sat in between the 9 and the 10, and I brought it down and gave it a 9.
On average.
On average, it was bang in the middle.
Wow.
It was so close. We're going to save our thoughts to the end, along with a game this week. But before we do that,
What? Whoa. What do you mean a game this week?
Can I not have a game this week?
No, we're not doing games anymore.
I thought we were doing games.
No. We're not doing games anymore.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll leave the game out this week because you're boring. We'll play the game another week.
Okay.
Remember this, listeners. Mark removed the game from the episode. It was
I don't feel safe you playing games.
It was a lovely quiz game as well, but it's fine. We won't play the quiz game called Backstabber that I was going to get you back with. We'll do it another day.
Yeah, okay. I'd rather live in fear and anxiety than have to do it today.
Actually, do it. Okay, that's fine. We start with the 20th Century Fox logo. No, I'm kidding. We're not going that in depth. We'll jump forward ever so slightly.
Yes, please do.
We start with a black screen and a female voice saying, "A long time ago, it said that a monster came here." And she says this not only in English, but she says this in Comanche. And instantly, it got my attention. Straight away.
Yeah.
We then cut into some of the most breathtaking scenery shots I've ever seen in a movie. This movie, I'm going to say it now, visually when they're looking out at the world around them is fucking stunning to look at.
Do you know what it kind of reminded me of? I used to get this similar feeling when I used to watch 80s action films such as like Cliffhanger and things like that. I feel like we're so spoiled by the internet these days and the accessibility of seeing everything at the touch of our fingertips. Like when I was growing up, I used to watch films like Sylvester Stallone's Cliffhanger and see the landscape and the scenery used to film that film, and I'd be like, wow, that is breathtaking. And I got that same sense of nostalgia from watching this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really something. Some of the shots throughout the whole movie, some of them are like, that is incredible. I want to go there. I want to go and see that for myself. And I like when you get that in a movie because you don't get that very often. We meet our main character called Naru. As she's woken early. We also meet her dog, who is a very good boy. Very good boy. Very good boy. I want that dog so much. Such a good boy. I'm going to say good boy in this probably more than I've ever said it in an episode before.
Please don't, because it's making me a little bit uncomfortable already.
Good boy. Naru is foraging for plants and for food in the forest, and we cut to her practicing with her tomahawk. I'm going to say she is fucking lethal with a tomahawk.
Very.
Lethal. And fun fact I'm going to do away with now, the throwing of the tomahawk is all her into that tree.
Oh, really? That's not CGI. She did that.
She does that. The opening scene where she's lobbing that tomahawk into the tree that's probably not that much wider than the blade is her doing that. And I was like, that's cool. Very, very cool.
As precision as she does as well, like carving the shapes and stuff.
I don't know about
that. Like, she forms like an X, doesn't she?
Yeah. So that's genuinely her.
That's cool.
No, that's genuinely her. So most of the cast in this, I don't know if you know, are actually part of the Comanche Nation. So,
oh, really?
So the girl who plays Naru is Amber Midthunder. Fucking such a cool name. Such a cool name. And the guy who plays her brother is Comanche Nation. All of the people in the village are actually Comanche Nation. And there is a version of this when you go into subtitle options where you can watch this in Comanche with subtitles.
Yeah. Now, I want to bring that to your attention real briefly because that got me very, very excited. Because this is something that I feel was a missed opportunity with this film. Like, it had the potential to be that awesome. But the Comanche version is literally just the English version dubbed.
Yeah, it is.
Like, they haven't filmed these scenes in Comanche, which they should have done, and they should have stayed true to it, which would have been amazing and probably got it recognized by the Academy for being such a fucking awesome, awesome film.
Yeah.
But instead, they filmed it all in English and then just dubbed it in Comanche afterwards, which was disappointing, really, because I would have loved to have seen this version filmed and had the dialogue of Comanche in it, because that would have been outstanding, I think.
Yeah, and I've got to say, in the Comanche, I watched the Comanche version with the subtitles, and I did appreciate the fact that they went to that effort to do it, because there are not many movies in Comanche.
No, and again, I'm not trying to take anything away from this film by saying this, but I just feel like I would have preferred it to all being acted in Comanche and then being dubbed in English, or then have English subtitles. I would, if this was acted in Comanche and then had English subtitles, I would have preferred it personally.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Completely agree with you. After hearing a noise, she sees a deer and decides to go and hunt it. It doesn't go to plan, as she's lining up ready to take out the deer, there's a huge noise that comes from the sky and startles the deer. She chases it, and so does her dog, but she doesn't catch it. The only thing that gets caught is her dog, and it gets a bear trap on its tail. They do a fantastic job of showing how fucking confused she is at what this thing is.
Yeah, she looked like I did when I saw it.
Yeah, she picked up the bear trap and was like, what the fuck is that, and why is it on my dog's tail?
I was like, what the fuck is going on? What time period are we? how is there metal here, and how has she got a bear trap in this nation?
Yeah.
I was so confused, man. I just didn't get it.
Yeah, but it works really well because she's so confused. And throughout this, I'll touch on it as we get to it, but throughout this movie, you only see the movie through her eyes. You don't get anyone else's perspective whatsoever. And there's times when it's done so perfectly. But we'll get to that. It doesn't take her long to figure out how to open it. And she treats her dog's tail with herbs from her pouch. I can't tell you how much I love this dog. And at this point, I was absolutely terrified that this dog is going to get it. I'm looking at this dog going, he's such a good dog, and they've teed it up so badly for that dog to die. Don't kill the dog.
Don't kill the dog. We don't need to see that. I still haven't recovered from I Am Legend.
No, that's a very sad film. We hear another loud noise in the sky, and we see fire behind some clouds. To us, this is obviously a spaceship. To Naru, this is fire in the sky and clouds moving. And this is where we get the title card that hits with Prey.
See, I was confused because it looked to me like that ship was crashing.
Yeah, no, it was just coming into land.
Yeah, I know it now, but I just said at the time, I was like, that's weird. And then later on, I was like, well, how is that flying away? That looked like it was crash landing. And then there's a lot of moments like that in this film that confused me, I'll be honest.
The opening is brilliant, and I think they set up everything we need to know about this movie without really saying anything, apart from she has a brief scene where she speaks to her dog in Comanche. I wasn't overly excited when this was released and openly bashed the shit out of it on TikTok. I'm pleased to say all of my assumptions of this movie being a cheap, nasty Hollywood cash grab were completely wrong.
You couldn't be in any further wrong if you tried, I don't think, with your assumptions of what this was going to be. This is a perfectly crafted and well-respected installment in the Predator franchise.
100%. We now meet her brother, and he tells the story of his first hunt. And this is where Naru's saying she saw the Thunderbird in the sky, and she's ready to go for her first hunt. Now, the hunt in the Comanche Nation is a very special hunt. It's not a case of go catch a rabbit. You need to go and hunt something that hunts you. Fuck that. No way. No, I'm not down for that at all. I'll go hunt a rabbit. I'll go hunt something that can't attack me back. But yeah, no, anything that can fight back, not a chance. We get some more scenery shots, and we get a look at the village. When I first watched it, I was like, that village looks so authentic. Really, really good. And that was when I found out that they're all Comanche Nation, and it is authentic because it is.
That's cool.
That everything they're doing is things that they would have done using the original tools they would have used. It's so much. I don't expect this level of detail in a Hulu original. And I sure as shit do not expect this level of detail in a Predator movie.
And I think that's what's so jarring about it, is because it is that good that it's just some moments you have to pinch yourself like, this is a fucking Predator movie that started out as an Arnold Schwarzenegger-centered action film.
Yeah, exactly. We get a scene where Naru is preparing dinner with her mother. And her mum's saying she's good at so many things. Why does she want to hunt? And this is where she comes back with, because you all think I can't.
Which is perfect.
Yeah, and I love the family dynamic in this is very good, because like the brother comes in, he's just been hunting, and he's very successful at hunting. And the family dynamic I found very, very believable. Very believable. I bought into that's mum, that's brother and sister get along, but there's still that sibling rivalry. I got all of that.
Yeah, because this could very easily fall into that Hollywood bracket of being like, oh, brother's a dick and mum's got expectations of what her daughter should be, and that's that standard writing trope of making every character very stereotypical. But they do that, but they do it in a way that makes a lot more relatable. Like the mother has those feelings, but she does it in a compassionate way, which still makes her daughter feel like she has belief in her and faith in her as her capabilities. And the brother still holds up to those dickhead jock boy, I'm the hunter, the superior but he has such a likable quality about him that you can't help but fall in love with his character as well. Like I thought he was fantastic. He was so
Awesome.
cool, and all the way through it, he was portrayed as this sort of jockey, butch, supreme older brother, but he was done in a way where you can't help but he still showed that compassion and appreciation for his sister and her abilities in a way where you could tell he really, really respected her.
Yeah, and he wants her to do well.
Yeah, but he still had an image to uphold himself within the community, and it was so clever. The writing is impeccable. You can't knock it for the character development throughout this at all.
No, it's really, really good. It's now we get our first look at the Predator ship as it camouflages and flies off into the clouds. We get a brief look at the Predator, a second flash before it camouflages into what we now know as the iconic Predator camouflage, and we get the Predator clicking noise.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got that, I was like, yeah, I'm in 100% in now. The opening was great. Now I've got a Predator. I'm 100% on board. As instructed by my mother, Naru is now collecting a particular type of flower that they've run out of. This is where all hell breaks loose, and they start screaming and shouting that a mountain lion has taken a member of the tribe. We now cut to multiple hunters working their way through the woods with Naru's brother. Naru also tags along, and they're like, "What are you doing? We don't need anything cooked." And her brother's like, "She's a really good tracker. And also, if he's hurt, she's a healer. So basically, shut the fuck up. She needs to come with us."
But again, this just brings me back to the writing. Like, you could tell that he was, the way he stood up for her and was like, yeah, she'll be relevant. But then in the cutscene to it, he came up to her and he was like, look, don't fuck this up. You do this now because you've got to do this now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
you don't have a choice now. I've put my neck on the line. Do not make me look a twat.
Yeah, man. It's incredible. It really, really is. The writing is so intelligent. Who was the other dude with the red mohawk who looks like an adult version of Rufio?
I can't think of his name. I know who you mean, though.
Yeah, he comes back full circle there. I'm sure I'll touch upon him when we get to him.
Yeah, I'm sure we will, because he's not a particularly nice guy.
No.
We also get to see the full circle of life in swing now, as a rat eats a spider that's crawling across the Predator's camouflaged leg. We then get a snake eats the rat. The snake senses the Predator's there, and then the Predator kills it for its troubles. I liked this.
Yeah, brilliant. And do you know what I really, really appreciated about this was the fact that you can tell that this didn't have the greatest of budgets, and they're very, very clever. I know this came under heavy fire for its CGI, but I'm not going to fault it at all. I think they used it very sparingly and very cleverly when they did. For instance, the CGI snake doesn't look the greatest, and neither does the rat or the mouse. But what you see is when the snake goes to attack, you can see the Predator stand in front of it, and then it's sort of like it gives off this blurry image. Do you know how you get the standard sort of Predator look where the Predator's invisible to the naked eye, but we as an audience can see it because it's got that sort of glisten on screen, and they film it all behind the Predator, so you're looking through the glazed effect of the Predator's leg. And I was like, that's fucking clever, because you know you're going to struggle here to make that look impressive, so you're masking it very, very well.
Yeah, and I appreciated that as well. The CGI in this, there are some dodgy moments, but not for a second did it take me out of the movie.
No, and from what I'd read online, it was heavily criticised for CGI and stuff. And the whole way through this, I was sat there like, where?
Yeah.
when is it going to come?
Yeah, and I was the same. And we get the hunters and Naru continue to track the lion into the hills. And they're led by Good Boy Dog. Good Boy Dog takes them. He shows them the way. It doesn't take him long to find the tribe member who was taken. He's injured, and Naru starts to heal him using the roots and the flowers. The flowers, she says, cool his blood, which stop him having a fever. While this is going on, the hunters sit and make a gurney at rapid pace out of like chopping their wood. They're chopping trees down. They're lashing everything together. She's healing him. And 2 minutes later, he's on a stretcher and they're carrying him out.
Yeah, I appreciate this. So I thought it was really clever the way that they all just banded together and just showed um their abilities to use the surroundings
Yeah.
and make what they made. One thing I want to ask real quickly as well is the use of the flower. How quickly did you pick up on the importance of that?
I
Was it
picked
this
up on it.
scene?
It was here where she said,
I didn't. You see,
"Oh, did you not?" When she said it
no,
cools the blood, I was like, "Ah, okay, she's going to be eating that later."
I knew it was going to be important, but it wasn't because there's a scene in here in particular, which I'm sure we'll get to. When we get there, I was like, oh, that's going to be the scene.
Yeah,
That's going to be, and then do you know, like they said again, brilliant writing. Remind me when we get there, and I'll talk about it when we get to the mud scene.
okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Some of the hunters want to stay and track the lion, but Naru is more curious why the lion didn't finish him off, and she's like, something must have frightened him away, and no one listens to her. And it annoyed me, and I get why, and it sets it up later, but no one listened to her. On the way back, the dog, good boy, spots a skinned snake, and she then sees these massive tracks of the predator. She insists on warning her brothers, but one of the other hunters goes with her to warn her brother. So she's like, I'm going to warn my brother. And I liked this because the other hunter didn't go, well, no, you're coming back. Or he didn't go, I'll see you later. He went, I'll come with you. And it's this tribe mentality of, you're going to do that. You cannot go alone. I'm going to come with you because otherwise it's dangerous. And it's so well written. Naru finds her brother and they join them on the hunt for the cat. Naru said they need to bait the cat, and one of the other hunters is like, no, you can't do that. That's cheating. And her brother overrules him and goes, no, we're going to do it Naru's way. And then again, he's like, this is your time. And when that lion comes, you tell it today is where it ends, and you end the lion.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to do it now. Her brother sets a trail of blood to the tree. So she's climbed a tree. She sat there with the other hunter, and he's leading them there. And this is where the other hunter gets taken out by the predator. Did you spot it was the predator?
Yeah, yeah and no. Just purely based on how quick it was, I knew it wasn't the lion.
Yeah,
but
so
I
he's
didn't notice it was a predator.
He sat on the tree going, look, when this lion rocks up, I'm going to kill this lion. You're getting shit out of this. The next thing, he's like gone, completely gone.
Yeah,
and
she's obviously the predator, and then the lion just coincidentally turns up momentarily later.
Yeah, and the lion jumps up the tree. She doesn't do very well against the lion, bless her.
Yeah, she does all right though. She's not like
she gets knocked out of the tree and gets knocked out. She does not.
She
do
kind
well
of
against
falls
the lion.
out the tree, doesn't she?
Yeah, and I like this because she gets knocked out and she wakes up at home with her mum.
Yeah,
and 2 minutes later, her brother like rocks up with the dead lion over his shoulder, carrying its head, and he's instantly honoured in a ceremony for doing so well. And that's all she's ever wanted. And you get this: she's looking at him, going, "I'm really happy for you, but I fucking hate you right now."
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell that there's that sibling rivalry between them at this moment.
Yeah, and she now wants to go out and hunt whatever left the tracks.
Yeah, so she's spouting like, so there's a really cool exchange between her and her brother, and she's like trying to tell her brother that there was more out there. She's like, her brother's like, oh, we did it, like together we did it. And she turns around to him and is like, no, there's something else out there. And he's like, look, I tried to say we did it, but let's be honest, I did it. I carried you home. I put you to bed. You failed, and I finished up.
Yeah, and I like this because at no point she's like, I need to do this. And at no point does he go, you can't do this because you're a girl, which is where I thought they were going to go with it. Instead, he goes, you can't do this because I've seen you try to do this so many times. And as much as this hurts you, you're not fucking very good at it.
Yeah.
That's why
but
you
we
can't
know
do
she
it.
is very good at it.
Yeah, we know she is very good at it. He even hits her with the line of like, when it mattered, you just couldn't bring it home. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, that hurt a little bit.
Oh.
I felt like when he said it to her as well.
It's like, that's brutal. The first 30 minutes of this are an incredibly slow build. And if you go into this expecting a traditional Predator movie, you're going to spend a lot of time going, "What? This isn't Predator." It
I
does.
think the thing is, though, I think it does the setup so well that it's almost like the Predator is a side character in this story.
Yeah, it
It doesn't feel in
100%.
any way. Yeah, it doesn't feel in any way like your stereotypical Predator movie, and I was so engrossed in it for that reason because I think my expectations were, here we go again, the 19th Predator movie that's going to fail. And when I went into it, I was like, okay, well, this is a different breed.
Yeah, a completely different breed. And this is where it really starts to pick up and gather pace because Naru's like, well, I'm going to go do the hunt anyway. So her and her dog head off into the wilderness. It's at this point that I realised how good the score to this is. And I don't normally talk about the score in movies. There's a song called Naru's Way, it plays a couple of times in the movie. And the first time it played here, I got goosebumps. I was like, yes, I like this a lot.
That's so annoying to me because somebody who always pays attention to score, I was so engrossed in everything else, I didn't even notice it.
The musical score where she makes her decision of, that's it, I'm doing this now. And it happens a couple of times in the movie. When this plays, I was like, oh, wow, that's chilling and haunting. We cut to Naru hunting the Predator. She's tracking him down now. And this time, the Predator is using thermal imaging, which I've always loved. And if you've ever wondered what happened when a Predator fought a wolf, you get the answers in this movie. So Naru's out tracking the Predator, and the Predator is tracking a wolf, and a wolf's about to kill a rabbit. It gets to the point it's about to bite the rabbit, and the Predator just decapitates it.
Well, I think it gets the rabbit and then it runs into the Predator's leg.
Yeah,
so and bounces off to the side, and then they have like this weird sort of like standoff thing, and then the wolf runs at it, and you almost feel like because of the way the armor flickers, you feel like, oh shit, that wolf's just got the better of it, and then you just see the blood dripping from the claws of the Predator's blades, and then the guts just fall to the floor out of this wolf, and it just keels over to one side, and it's like, whoa, fucking hell.
And I like the fact that it was at this point that I realised the Predator he's obviously looking for a challenge. He's killed the snake. That was boring. Now he's fought the wolf. Now he's looking for the next thing. And this is kind of where I was like, this is good because they're having mirrored stories. She's trying to hunt something and he's trying to hunt something, and they're both going to meet in the middle and hunt each other, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, and you can see that progression of difficulty for the Predator as well, because the wolf does sort of slightly get an edge on it at one point. I think it bites its leg or something and slightly makes it bleed.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to just go back to is you talked about the X-ray, not the X-ray vision, the heat-seeking vision.
Yeah.
One thing I loved about this so much is the fact that they didn't update it. This looked as crappy as the original Predator movie. Like you would expect for like a modern day Predator movie to have this ultra glossy CGI heat-seeking thermal vision. But it didn't. It looked exactly like it did in the 80s, and it was awesome. I was like, that is so fucking cool that they decided to stick to that original sort of red and yellow, bluey, cheap original sort of tones that they decided to go with in the original. And I was like, that's really cool that they did that.
Yeah, and it's the same level of effect as you'd get in an Instagram or a TikTok filter. It's that level of crap. And it's great.
Because the thing is as well, like I could only assume that it would be harder to make it look like that than it would be to go with something more modern day.
Yeah, 100%. That took more effort than using modern technology.
Exactly, and I think that's why I appreciate it. It was one of those scenes where I was like, you've taken the time to make that look like it did, rather than, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get exactly what you mean. And this is where Naru starts upgrading her weaponry. Now,
awesome.
The tomahawk on a rope is incredibly unrealistic, but I don't give a fuck. It's awesome.
I didn't either. It's when she starts blasting it from tree to tree either side of her, like fucking Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and she now gets her first kill because she gets the rabbit.
Yeah, because doesn't she originally try hunting a rabbit and fails, and then that's when she does the rope thing. And then she spends like 10 minutes practicing. even though the montage feels like it's been about a week. And then the next scene we see is just her walking with about 12 rabbits on her shoulder.
Yeah, and she's like, got dinner. Brilliant.
Yeah. It's really, really cool because obviously you can see that she's throwing the tomahawk to get the rabbits. It's sticking in the tree. And then the time it's taking to retract it, they're already gone. And then in the next scene, she's like, oh, I'll tie the rope. And then she's throwing it to the tree and learning to bring it back and reel it in. And then the next thing, a couple of scenes later, she's like, bosh, tree, bosh, another tree, bosh, another tree. And it's like,
yeah,
like, that's awesome.
The only thing that's missing is get over here.
Yeah, it's really, really cool, man.
Really cool. We see the Predator clean the wolf's skull. So he sprays it with some kind of acid and all the flesh and everything falls off the wolf's skull. And we get the first shot of the Predator not in his camo. We also see Naru enters a field of skinned bison. And she found what I thought was a bullet on the ground, but it's not.
No, it's a cigar butt.
It's a cigar butt. I thought it was a shell casing when I first watched it. And then I was like, no, they haven't got shell casings yet. They're still using musket balls. It's not a shell casing, Scott. You're an idiot.
Sounds like, is Arnie going to appear in this?
Now, that would be a crossover and a half.
I was like, has he somehow got on a Predator ship and now he's back in some sort of time jump thing? Is Arnie going to appear?
Could you imagine the universal sigh from every Predator fan just go, oh, you were doing so well. You were doing so well.
Like, the thing is as well, like, for me, who admittedly has very limited knowledge when it comes to geography or history, I was confused by the timeline that this was set in because I was like, why is there a bear trap? I don't understand. Is there some, because I was just like, this is really, really old. Like, it's set in like modern, ultra olden days. So why is there like metal and a bear trap and so perfectly formed technology? Like, what's going on? And then we saw the cigar butt. I was like, oh, there's going to be some stupid plot twist with bloody time travel and it's going to wind me up something rotten at the end. Obviously, that's not inevitably the case, but that was where my thought process was. At one point, I even messaged you, I think, when I was watching it. I was like, what the fuck is going on with all these bear traps?
And I don't think I replied to you. I just left you.
No, and then like 5 minutes later, I was like, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, ignore me. This is where she also stumbles across the swamp area. So she needs to cross this swamp area, and this is deep, and she gets like neck deep in this swamp. After getting briefly stuck in here, she gets out and she comes across a bear. Now, she assumes that this is what she was tracking, and she decides that she's going to take the bear out.
Before we go any further, can we just go back to the mud thing again? Because that's the point that I wanted to bring back up. When she's in that mud pit and she's getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and then it eventually gets to her head level, and she arises from the mud with the tomahawk scorpion thing.
Yeah.
That was the moment where I was like, oh, this is where she's going to do her Arnie thing, and she's going to realize she's going to bump into the Predator. She's going to be covered in mud from head to toe. And she's going to realize that he can't see her because she's covered in mud.
I thought that's what was going to happen here, and it didn't.
And I thought that's where there was that's why I didn't pick up on the flower thing.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's what they were setting up for so long. And I thought, oh God, this is just falling into that trap again of too much effort to harken back to the original.
Do you think this was a deliberate choice where they went, let's stick her in the mud and let's let all the people go, dickheads, and then not do it?
Do you know what I think the thing is? I think they knew that their script was that good that they thought, let's fuck with these guys and let's make them think that this is going to be what it is. And then the fact that this scene even comes full circle in the end,
it's even better.
We'll get to is even fucking better, and it's just a perfect testament to how great the writing is in this. And I just think like there's so many things throughout this film where they're setting it up that way, where it's like, ha ha ha, you think you know what's happening, you know nothing.
we're going to do this. No, we're not.
No, exactly.
Got you again. Her hunting the bear is hilarious. So she's crap with a bow and arrow. So she pulls the bow back and the string falls off her bow. She makes a noise and the bear is like on its way up to kill her. The dog is a hero, a very good boy, and leads the bear away. And I've got to say, that is a fucking big bear.
Very, very big bear.
Very big bear. The bear
Very
chase,
savage bear as well. He's after blood.
yeah, and I like the bit where she finally gets her bow sorted, and she's now got down into like this watery lake area, and the dog comes sprinting back. And I was like, oh, the dog led him away. And then like a second later, you could like you almost see the fear in the dog's face, and the dog's like, "It's a fucking bear!" As the bear comes over the hill behind it. She runs, and the bear chases her into a beaver's dam, and is viciously trying to get in. And as it's trying to get in, all of a sudden it just goes, ugh, because the predator like drags it out, and we get a camoed predator fighting the bear, and Naru's watching on going, what the fuck? And she is literally in her face, she's like, what? There's nothing there.
Yeah.
What? And it's really good. The CGI in this point is not its best,
but
especially not on the bear.
As somebody who lives his life in bargain bin DVD bullshit, endless fucking Lake Placid sequels and Anaconda sequels, this was fucking top notch.
The bit that I thought was amazing is when he kills the bear and holds it above its head, and then all the blood comes down on the predator, and you can see the predator, even though he's still in camo, because he's covered in blood.
Covered in blood, yeah. Really,
that was
really
a
cool.
Brilliant shot.
That's something I wanted to ask you as well, because I'm not a massive Predator fan. I'm a casual Predator fan. I'll dip in and out of sequels, and I can put one of them on and I enjoy them for what they are.
Yeah.
But I can't say that I live in that franchise enough to know the lore well enough to understand it. I was always under the assumption that the suit was what made him invisible, like it was his armor and it was his getup that made him invisible. But in this, it's almost as if he's can switch it on and off, like he's invisible.
It kind of cloaks whatever they're wearing. So even in the original, when he hasn't got his mask on, he can still cloak.
All right, okay. So it is like basically like, is it like his glove that he wears on his wrist? It's like a force field thing.
Effectively, I mean, this predator is not the same species of predator we've had in all the other movies.
Oh, is it not?
No. So this is what's known as a feral predator. So this is a less advanced predator species. They're part of the same species, but this one is slightly different and not as advanced.
So how do we know that? How do we know
that's from the comic book lore.
Right. So if this is, where does this fall in terms of timeline? Is this like the first of them?
This is early on. So this predator is part of the same tribe of predators that are in Predator 2.
Oh, that's the one with Danny Glover, isn't it?
The one with Danny Glover. And there's a really strong link that I'll get to in facts that tie the two movies together beautifully.
It's so long since I've seen that film as well.
I mean, it ties it together in such a perfect, beautiful way that's only there if you're a big fan of the franchise. I loved it.
After watching this, I want to be, and I am definitely going to go back and work my way through them.
1, 2, and this. Anything beyond that, just don't fucking bother.
So you say that, but I actually have a lot of fun with the Alien versus Predator films. I can sit there and enjoy them as popcorn fodder.
Oh yeah, they're mindless fun, but they're not. Yeah, they're not.
I think that's the problem I have with these films, is because they are just mindless fun. Retaining any sort of scientific information throughout them is a challenge in itself, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is, and this one is unique. This, as far as I'm concerned, this broke the mold of Predator. They really took this somewhere else.
Yeah.
We now get 5 hunters who show up to take Naru home. Now, she explains to them what she saw, and they all take the piss out of her. And when she refuses to leave, the head guy of this little tribe of 5 gets very, very handsy with her. And I was so pleased that she fucking kicked his ass and fought back.
Oh, such a fucking amazing sequence as well. Because you think, in films like this, your mind immediately goes to rape. And I was like, oh no, please don't do this. Because I hate stuff like that in cinema anyway, especially when it feels unnecessary. And although this is probably time and age appropriate, where something like that occurred regularly within a male dominant environment, I just feel like I really, really didn't want it to go there. And I'm so glad that it didn't, because it set it up as if that's what it was going to do. And then she just fucking whoops ass. And she takes a beating herself, don't get me wrong. She takes a fair fucking licking.
It takes like, 3 of them to take her down, though.
Yeah, and it's like, you fucking go, girl, man. Yeah. You know, like, it was awesome. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, really, such a good fight scene. What they don't know is the Predator is watching them. And the Predator is looking for... The Predator will only fight things that's a threat. And that's been a theme throughout all of the Predator movies. If you're not a threat, it doesn't give a shit. So it's watched these 3 blokes kick 10 shades of shit out of Naru and gone, well, she's not a threat, but they all are. And
so is it like seeking the ultimate warrior? Is that the kind of... Is that the quest it's on?
Yeah, it's seeking it's seeking something that can challenge it physically. So
is that hence why it's like versus aliens?
Yeah,
the xenomorph thing.
Yeah, exactly that. It's always out for the big hunt. It's a big game hunter. So it doesn't want to hunt Naru because it looks at Naru and goes, well, they just beat the shit out of you. I'm going to destroy you. However, though, they might be a challenge for me. And this scene, I think, is one of the best scenes in the movie. They hear rustling in the bushes. And one of the guys like has a look, and then he fires a bow and he takes out an animal. And then he's like joking and laughing. And they're all mocking her, going, look, it's a possum, you silly bitch. It's a possum. Why are you so scared? The Predator shows up and he fucks them up.
The choreography in this scene alone is impeccable.
And the 3-dot laser is back. And I love the fact that they've taken the Predator back 800 years, as well as the people. So he's got his 3-dot laser, but now instead of firing a big laser cannon, it fires like bolt-style arrows.
Yeah, which are like homing missiles to wherever the dot is thing.
Yeah, exactly that. The fight scene is great, and the Predator literally rips them apart. All of them, just shreds the lot. We get our first stare down with Naru and the Predator. And I love this open shot of this field. And Naru stood there looking at the Predator like, oh, fuck. And the Predator eyeing her up and down. She runs for her life.
Yeah, I thought she was going to try and fight it. And I was like, no. Like, I've played Resident Evil 3. I've encountered the Nemesis. The best thing for you to do is run.
And she does. And really, really smart decisions. When she gets out into an open field, she gets a hunter drag her down into the long grass. And he tells her to be quiet. And I love the shot of the Predator in full camo making all the grass move.
Yeah.
As he walks into the field. We get the 3 dots on the other hunter's head. And Naru's twigged straight away how this works. And pushes him down out of the way.
Yeah, because I like this. The dialogue between the two of them. He says to her, "It's like, oh, I've got him in my sights," and she's like, sees the dots appear on him, and she's like, "No, he's got us," and then pushes him out of the way just as the arrows fly through.
Yeah, and then they run away, and Naru's in the front, and there's other hunters in the back. The spray of blood when the Predator gets to him is like a little firework without the fire bang noise. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's like a water fountain. It just erupts throughout this field. It's so cool.
Really, really cool.
One thing I wanted to ask as well is, like, you obviously are a lot more familiar with this franchise than I am. He's collecting like spines and skulls as he's going. Is that like something he does? They're like the trophies.
They're the trophies. So in some of the other movies, you'll see the Predator's got skulls on his shoulder. In one of the movies, he's got an alien head as a shield, because it's resistant to acid. So they collect trophies from what they kill. They're effectively...
So I was going to ask, it's like I know we haven't got to that point yet, but the like sort of like head skull thing that he's got now, I'm assuming that is...
That is the skull of another species of predator.
Right, okay.
So he's
like bulletproof, that thing.
Yeah, so he's taken out another predator, and that is his helmet now. Naru almost got away when she gets caught in a trap, the same trap that a dog's tail got caught in at the start of the movie. this is where the movie took a turn I didn't see coming. She's caught by French trappers and taken back to their camp. This, for me, is where they take the story writing to a whole new level. Because even if you watch this in subtitles, they do not subtitle the French trappers.
I knew there were, at the version I watched, there was no subtitles to the French trap. I was like, what are they saying? Have I got a bad copy of this, or have I turned something off in my settings? Because
no, they deliberately
I tried figuring about with it for ages, and I was like, what are they saying?
Yeah, and they deliberately didn't subtitle it because the director wanted you to see and understand as much as Naru did.
Cool.
Really
that makes it
cool.
even better.
Really cool, because I'm sat there going, what are they saying? I think I know what they're kind of getting at, but what's going on? And I like the fact that I'm as much in the dark as she is, looking at them going, why are you shouting at me? I have no idea what you're saying.
It just goes to show how educated I am as well, because I was like, oh, what are all these fucking traps? It doesn't make any sense to me. And then I immediately messaged you when they turned up. I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. The Americans are here.
Yeah, no, they're French.
Yeah. And I just assumed, I was like, oh, here we go. The fucking Americans are here.
To be fair, it's a fair interpretation of the Americans in that time period. Please don't hate me, American listeners. She wakes up in a cage, and it doesn't take long for her to realize what's going on. So there's someone there who speaks Comanche and translates for the French trappers, and basically says, we know there's something in the woods. You're going to help us catch it. And she basically like, no, I don't think I am. And then they pull her brother out of another cage and cut him right across his chest.
Yeah.
And
cool.
They're going to use them as bait. So they walk them off into this big field and tie them to a tree. And they all the French trappers get around it in a circle with loads of guns. The best nod to the original here. So when the Predator does turn up, he doesn't attack Naru or her brother because they're not a threat. They're tied to a post. And he's taking out French trappers left, right, and centre. And in the process, he gets shot. And you see green blood splatter all down his side. And her brother says, if it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah.
Which is a line from Arnie in the original. I was like, that is beautiful. Well done.
Oh, really? I didn't pick up on that. That was awesome.
That was a line from the original. Arnie went, if it bleeds, we can kill it. And yeah, so
it's
beautiful.
been that long since I've seen the original. I should have watched the original before I watched this.
In this battle, we also get the older style Predator opting for like spears and this like retractable shield on his arm. The
shield is amazing.
The shield is so cool. He's like, he puts his arm up and then it like fans out and then it fans back again and disappears. Brilliant.
Like it cuts through trees and through rocks and fucking decapitates people with no end.
Yeah, literally no effort at all. And he's like taking someone's head off and he's swung for someone else and he goes straight through a tree. You're like, oh, that's a fairly brutal.
Bulletproof. It like pops up and they're shooting at him and he just bullet. I love that particular scene where there's like three of them all laid up ready to shoot him and they all shoot and he blocks it with his shield. And then they all look at each other because they've got the guns that like need filling with gunpowder and pellets and all the rest of it. And they all just look at each other like, shit, and then they all try and refill the guns and he just swipes and wipes them all out.
Yeah, because he's about 3 foot away from them and they need about 8 minutes to reload. We also get one bit of new tech in this, which I like, which is this kind of disc bomb thing. These floating discs come up and they all spin and all the French trappers kind of walk towards them like, what are these? They're flying. They're cool, aren't they? And there's one French trapper you see at the back who's like, I don't like that. And he kind of starts backing away. And then you get a shot where they go up into the sky and you see like this misty floor and all you see is like all this light, like blue and red light go.
Yeah.
And you hear loads of screams. It's like, oh, that fucked all of you up. It's in this chaos that they escape. So Naru and her brother get out. And again, the way they get out, I love the fact that she's like, sometimes you need to sacrifice. I saw a deer get trapped once and it bit its own leg off to get away. and there's a bear trap right next to her, and her brother's like, no, don't do it, thinking she's going to put her hand in it. And she puts just the rope in it, and she's like, no, it's a beaver. And she's like, the thing is, I'm much smarter than a beaver. It's like, yes, good for you.
Does she? I think she touches it, doesn't she? Doesn't she not touch the trap because she retracts so quickly? It only grabs the rope.
Yeah, and then she's like, and I'm much cleverer than a beaver. And her brother's kind of like, yeah, fair point. You are cleverer than a beaver. Now, they split up now. So her brother goes to get horses so they can get back to camp. And she goes...
I missed this part where I was like, where has he gone?
So he said, I'm going to go get some horses. And she said, I'm going back to get my dog.
Right.
And she goes back to the French trappers' camp. This is where we can see how lethal she is. And this fight scene is beautifully choreographed.
Fucking badass, man. She's so fucking rapid.
She goes in, and then like the first French trapper spots her, and within a millisecond, he's got a tomahawk in his chest. She's then like jumped up, wraps her legs around another one's head, flicked him to the floor, and stabbed him. She takes out like 6 people.
Yeah, it's like that scene with Scarlett Johansson where she's tied to the chair in one of the Avengers films, and she just bursts out and wipes out a room full of henchmen in like quick succession. And elegant as fuck as well when she does it. Yeah,
it's really, really good. And we cut to the Predator, and he's now healing from his wounds because he's been shot up a little bit, and he's using like this pen that, if you're a fan of the franchise, you've seen him use this pen before. He runs it across and it heals the wounds. There is one trapper left alive, and it's the one who translated for her earlier, and he's injured. And he basically says to Naru, look, I need your help. And she's like, fuck you. It's the initial response. She's like, I'll give you a gun and I'll show you how to use it if you just help me.
Yeah.
And he shows her how to use it and tells her how to load the gun. And then she gives him some of these orange petals again, the ones that cool your blood. Brilliant. Again, just sets up. It's this, the whole movie.
This was when I realized it was this scene in particular when I was like, okay.
Yeah. The dog come running in because the Predator arrives at this point. Now, this is where the Predator, Naru realizes that the Predator can't see the French trapper that's lying on the floor that she's given the petals. And it's not until the Predator treads on him and he screams and the Predator kills him. Now, this is where the dog come running in. And I was like, no. The Predator's going to kill the dog. But it doesn't. And Naru brother comes in and throws a spear straight through the Predator's chest.
This scene in particular is the best scene in the film for me. This fight scene between the brother and the sister and the Predator, I was like, this is awesome.
It's the first time I've ever seen a Predator movie where you've got 2 people working together using hand-to-hand combat to take out a Predator.
And the brother in this scene in particular was just so tactful. I was like, you dude are fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I liked you for a reason.
And this is where Naru makes another realization. So her brother knocks his helmet off. And when the helmet's off, she sees the bolts fire from the helmet. And she sees that they go to where the 3 dots are. Yeah. She's really smart. Really smart.
Very intuitive.
Naru loads the gun as her brother keeps like circling the camp and taking like pop shots at the Predator with his bow and arrow. I appreciate the fact this scene is done in the day and not shrouded in the night. I love the fact that I can see everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Because normally a scene like this would be done, it's the middle of the night, you'll see a flash of him as he goes past a tree, but you see everything. Yeah. It's so good.
And it looks outstanding. It really does. The choreography in the fight sequence is so good. It really is.
Yeah. Naru loads the gun, points it at the Predator and fires, and it does nothing. The Predator is kind of like fully focused on her brother. And this is when Naru lets out like a blood-curdling scream to get the Predator's attention. And it's at this point where our brother spears the Predator straight through the chest. And it goes right through. as well. I thought this was going to slow the Predator down. He like just snaps it.
Yeah.
Snaps it like one
No
hour.
fucks given.
No fucks given. No, it doesn't even slow him down for like a millisecond. The fight is brilliant. I love the close range combat. And I love the fact of the brother firing his bow and arrow at close range, and Naru as well.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is now that knocks his helmet off. Is it she finally gets a gun going?
No, it's the spear that knocks the helmet off.
I thought it was a gun. I thought she shot him from the back of the head. Are you sure? I thought she finally gets the gun going because she hides behind the tree and she's like, gunpowder, posh bush, gunpowder, gunpowder. And then she finally steps out and she shoots him from behind. And that's what knocks the helmet off his head onto the floor.
Yes, it is. That is exactly what happens.
And then when the helmet's on the floor, this is when we obviously get the very, very tragic death of her brother. And because they feel like they've crucified him enough that he's retreated, but he hasn't. He's just gone invisible. And then they're stood there talking, and he's like, "You need to bring it home. Now's the time. You run." And you're like, "Oh shit, what's happening? Why is he saying this?" And I'm like, "Has he already been stabbed in the chest? Is that why?" And we just haven't seen it yet. And then I'm like, "Oh no, this isn't good. Please don't kill him. I love this guy."
Yeah, and that's when the claw comes up through his middle and lifts him clean off the floor.
Straight in the air. And at this point, you're like, "Shit!" And you're like, "Fuck no, he's done." And you can see the anguish in her face, and you're like, "Oh no, what is she going to do now? Is she going to stay and fight? Is she going to let her rage unleash?" And she doesn't, because she shot him in the head and his helmet fell off onto the floor. She runs and grabs the helmet and disappears off into the forest.
Yeah, she does. And I love the scene that comes next because they take the little bit of extra care. So you see one of the hunters going back and telling Naru's mum that her brother's died. And you see
I assumed at this point that he had explained that they'd both died.
I think he'd explained they both died. And you see the mum break down. And while they're doing this, they're intercutting it with shots of Naru sat by the river, wiping her brother's blood from her hands. And you can just you can feel the anger in her growing.
I felt it with her. I loved her brother. I thought it was amazing. I was like, this is fucking heartbreaking. I can't believe they killed him.
And this is where Naru goes fucking savage. She spots one of the French trappers by the river and attacks him immediately.
Yeah, well, she sees him from across the river and you can see her pointing the gun at him. And I'm like, don't shoot that gun because you're probably going to miss. And then the camera cuts, and then the next thing you see is she just unleashes and knocks him out.
Yeah. This is where her plan starts coming into play. So the tracker wakes up, and his leg has been removed, and he has rats eating his severed, stump. He crawls to where the fire is, where there's a gun, and Naru gives a very chilling speech while eating the orange blood-cooling flowers. And she put, "You bled my brother, so you now bleed. You think I'm not a hunter like you, and that's what makes me dangerous. You can't even see it, but I'm killing you right now."
Awesome.
And this is because she's twigged that the predator only hunts things that can hunt it.
Yeah.
He grabs the gun to shoot her.
Which is perfectly placed.
Yeah, perfectly placed. And as he picks it up, she stands up and the predator walks in. And the predator now can't see her. And she even moves her foot slightly to the side to let the predator come through.
That's because she's had the flower.
Yeah.
That cools her blood.
Yeah, and the predator just comes in and destroys the French trapper. This is where she takes the point blank shot at the back of his head.
Oh, is this the scene? Sorry.
This is the scene where she's loaded the gun and she takes the point blank shot at the back of his head, knocking his helmet off.
Apologies, sorry, I jumped the gun earlier on. I thought it was earlier on that she picked it up off the floor and ran away with it.
Yeah, no, it's here, and she runs off with it here. We now see her set up the mask in some rocks, and the predator is approaching her, tracking a trail of his blood that she's left where it's been dripping from his mask, and he is pissed. He is not happy at all. He reaches the end of the trail, and we get such a good shot as she leaps out of the tree down towards him, lands on him, and goes absolutely wild with a tomahawk on his neck, on his chest, on his head. Just anything she can hit, she's going for it.
Yeah.
He slings her to the ground, and he's now even more pissed off. And she even, in this fight scene, she gets the Predator to cut off his own hand. Did you spot this?
Oh, yeah, with the shield.
Yeah, where he's like trying to
Doesn't he try to get her with this, and he gets his blade stuck in the tree?
Yeah, and then she deliberately ducks under his arm, so he swipes with his shield, and she ducks back under the other way, and he just takes his right arm clean off.
Yeah, very cool. I thought he'd done it to free his arm because he'd got it stuck in the tree from the blades.
No, she ducks under to make him swing for her again, and then she ducks back, and he takes his own arm off trying to get her.
That's amazing.
Really, really good. And the Predator now is probably the angriest I've ever seen a Predator in any Predator movie ever. He's not impressed. He's lost an arm. He's been stabbed, been viciously attacked by this woman that he's seen a million times and gone, "You're not a threat." So he's probably
now getting the better of him.
He's probably feels like a bit of a bellend now. Like, I probably should have killed her earlier.
The best way to sum up a Predator is he feels like a bit of a bellend.
Yeah. There's a point in this fight where he pins her down, and she does something I've never seen in a Predator movie. She grabs hold of one of his like mandibles on his like flappy mouth and just rips it clean off.
Yeah. Didn't she stab him like in the head with it? Or
yeah, she rips it off and then stabs him in the face with his own like mandible tooth thing.
Yeah.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Very.
We now get another face-off, identical to the one we got in the forest earlier, but now in the dark, and they're both pissed off. I have never seen a dog and a human work together in the way that what happens next.
No.
Her dog comes charging in with her tomahawk. As she runs towards the Predator, slides under its legs. As the dog hands her the tomahawk, she then slits his like Achilles as she goes through, jumps on his back and like wraps the rope around his neck, and he throws her off again. And this is where I realised where we were. We're back at the swamp that she was at earlier.
Yeah.
And she drags him, just yanks the rope, pushing him face first into the mud.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Before we get to the closing bit, there was one thing in this that I wanted to touch upon, was where she falls to the floor and he goes to get her with the shield and she slides in between the two rocks.
Yeah.
Amazing. I was like, oh, because it's so like off the cuff quick that she just slides herself back in between these two boulders because she knows he's going to go for her neck. And then the shield hits the rocks. But like, because the shield's so unbelievably sharp, it's just slowly grinding its way through the rocks as he applies more pressure, getting closer and closer to her neck.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, that was intense, man. That was a really, really intense moment in that final fight sequence. But continue.
Yeah, the final fight sequence as a whole is one of the best fight sequences I've seen in a movie for a long time, especially in horror.
Yeah, so clever, so cleverly done.
As she drags him into the mud, he gets up and he kind of does the big, what almost like the iconic arms out at the side Predator scream, like, "I'm going to fucking kill you now." Yeah. And this is where he touches his hand, like thing on his arm, which triggers his helmet. And he doesn't realise the bolts from his helmet are pointed right at his head. And they go straight through his forehead, dropping him dead.
Yeah, because she'd perfectly set up the helmet to come straight back to point back at him, knowing she was going to trap him in the mud. Yeah,
exactly that. Naru returns to her village with his fluorescent blood as war paint and carrying his severed head, which when she walks in, she basically throws it at the chief's feet in a very fuck you moment. She also tells the chief that they're in danger. There's danger nearby and they need to move to more protected ground. she throws him the pistol that she was gifted earlier, and I'm coming back to that in facts. Goosebumps again as Naru's way played at this final scene, and the dog survived.
Yay for the dog.
I'm pretty sure there's no spoilers here that I'm going to score this high, and I absolutely loved it. But before I say anything, let's find out what you thought in.
Well, I think it's time for 3-word review. Yeehaw!
We had a huge response to 3-word review this week. Thank you so much for everyone who took part. I wanted to pick all of you, but there was simply too many and I couldn't. Frightmare Collective, Predator franchise revival, and they're a horror podcaster. Lumberjay the Hair Gay, excellent, decent addition. He's a horror fan. Just Enough, best in franchise, and that's a horror content creator. Insult Worlds Fighting, best since 2, and that's Monkey Island Forever. Go look. I'm not going to ever tell you what that is. Just go look. This Girl Loves Horror, totally fucking awesome. That's a horror reviewer. Horror Illustrations, lean, powerful, perfect, and they're a comic book artist. And finally, Eric82 steals the show with Disney Loves Predators.
Yeah, Disney fucking does.
Take that however you want. They're a mixed fandom trivia account.
Facts and fuck ups.
You're gonna love the facts this week. So the rattlesnake could see the predator, and that's actually fact because the predator hunts exactly the same way as a rattlesnake. A rattlesnake uses thermal imaging location to hunt its prey.
That's really clever. That's why it went for it.
Yeah. So the predator sat there and the snake's gone, well, I can see you and I'm going to bite you.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. The producer of the film is an enrolled member of the Comanche Nation, as are most of the cast. This debuted at #1 on Hulu and is the biggest movie premiere in Hulu's streaming history.
Which means it's pretty much guaranteed a sequel, and surely.
We'll get there. In the film, her brother Tub, I've got his real name now, it's Dakota Beavers. Told you they've all got cool names. He plays her older brother, where in real life, he's actually 4 years younger than Amber Midthunder.
I still can't take these names seriously.
No, they're real Comanche Nation names. They're cool.
So have these got acting pasts or just like first-time acting roles?
They've done bits, but first-time acting roles. I think it was the brother. It's either the brother or the nasty guy in the tribe was working on the reservation, and they picked him off the reservation for the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Really cool. It's the first and only standalone Predator movie with a female lead.
Cool.
The practical feral predator effects are created by Alec Gills and Tom Woodruff. They've won Academy Awards for their special effects, doing special effects for Tremors, Starship Troopers, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Which one did they get an award for?
They got an award for Starship Troopers for practical effects.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love Starship Troopers.
I do. The Flintock pistol, that's dated 1715, with the name Raphael Adaloni engraved on it, is the same pistol that's gifted to Danny Glover at the end of the first movie by the Elder Predator.
That's interesting then, because she has it at the end of this.
Yeah, which means they come back, which gets me on to the next bit. In the post-credit scene, there isn't one. What they done?
I was going to say, I missed something then, because I was like, no. Not.
So they done an animated end title sequence, which continues the story, showing the Predators return, and there is another battle. So Naru is going to fight these Predators again, and because I know that gun gets gifted to someone in Predator 2, I know Naru does not survive the next movie.
Well, we don't know that. We just know that they obtain the gun.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to survive. All of that end credit scene was done by Native American artists who actually paint real animal hides. And they've done that to make it very period accurate. Now, some people, including me, thought that Naru finds a shell casing. As we said earlier, she doesn't. She finds a cigar. And the final fact that I thought was just a bit weird and a bit funny, the mountain lion that roars at her when they're on the tree. Mountain lions don't roar. They scream. So yeah.
I can let that slide.
I 100% I can let that slide. Speaking about screaming, you're going to scream when you see our awesome T-shirts on yourunpodcast.com. That was a lazy link.
I didn't want to bring attention to it, but you can do better.
I can do better. I need better writers. Writers of Prey, please help me. Also, make sure you leave us a review wherever you listen. I'm taking this one first. I'm a huge fan of the Predator franchise. I consume everything they chuck out, from comics through to movies, through to literally, if it's got a Predator in it, I am going to watch it. Even trash editions like Alien versus Predator, even Requiem, I watch. The first movie is a masterpiece of action horror, and I never thought it would be matched in the franchise. I definitely didn't think it would be surpassed. I am wrong. Unlike the original movie, which is very, very much time-stamped, I know when that movie's set, I know when it's made. This movie is timeless. Overlooking some of the CGI, the performances are brilliant, and this could be watched now or in 25 years' time, and it still holds that ability to be a pitch-perfect Predator movie. The Comanche Nation cast is amazing. It's visually stunning, incredible set pieces, brilliant fight scenes. It's got an outstanding score, which, as I said earlier, I don't really talk about. This is the perfect Predator movie and the best in show by miles. It's why it's the number one movie in Hulu's history. It's a 10 out of 10 from me.
Wow, that is a very, very high score. Very, very high score indeed. I can appreciate why you would give it as high as you have, and I can appreciate your love for this franchise as a whole. I personally don't hold that level of love or connection to these films. One thing that disappointed me the most about this is that I feel like it didn't lean as heavily as it should have done into that whole Last of the Mohicans sort of style that this deserves. This is an outstanding film, but it had the potential to be flawless. And had it sticking to I just think there was, when it was first announced, and it was announced that it was going to be set in this time period. I remember, if you go back and listen to Newsweek, when we spoke about the announcement, I was like, oh, this looks amazing. I hope to God that they stick and do it as a native language film with subtitles.
I remember.
And I said that from the off, and I was like, if they do that, this will be outstanding. And I said it, I called it before the film even came out, before the first trailer even came out. We got still images. I was like, if they do this in a native language, regardless of what studio interferences think, this will be something special. And it was so close to being that. And the thing is as well, like, this is a nigh on perfect film. And you're right, it deserves to be a 10 out of 10. Everything about it was enjoyable from start to finish. The cinematography, the score, the fight choreography, the CGI effects. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's certainly not fucking bad. It's certainly not noticeable. It's certainly not distracting. The hoo-ha that I've seen on the internet about it is not justified in any way, shape, or form. I loved it. I fucking absolutely loved it. But I wanted it to just be that little bit braver. I wanted it to just take that extra little step to make it that perfect 10 out of 10 that I know that it deserved to be. But unfortunately, it didn't. It didn't commit to it as wholeheartedly as I wanted it to. And it didn't do that Last of the Mohicans dedication that I envisioned it was going to do. But that... I tell you what, I'm just going to score it. It's a 4.5 out of 5. It's about as perfect as a movie can be for me. And I don't want to dwell too much on the fact of my issues with it, because my issues with it are my own personal issues and not an issue with the film.
Yeah,
it is about as perfect as it can be, not just purely for an action film, but for a Predator horror film. But it was one of the most enjoyable hour and 40 minutes I've spent watching a film in the best part of 4 or 5 years. I thought it was fantastic. I just knew it just needed to be that little bit more, and it could have been that little bit more had it committed to it a little bit better. And that was something that I called from the first off, and I was like, if they do it, this is perfect.
Do you want to see a sequel?
100%. I would take 10 sequels of it based on this, by these same directors and these same writers. Give me more. Give me a TV series featuring 24-hour-long episodes, and I will enjoy every single one of them. I thought it was fantastic. You know what I mean? And I feel that's why I want to draw focus away from my criticisms, because it is pretty much perfect. I just wanted to voice my own annoyances with it, but my annoyances are not justified. They're my own personal annoyances based on what I expected from it. Take that out of the equation, and you're right. This is a 10 out of 10 film. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And I think both of us have scored it probably definitely the highest we've scored this year for both of us.
Definitely, yeah.
If you do want to watch this, it's on Hulu in the US and Disney Plus in the UK. You can rent it everywhere else, but both of those subscription services offer a free trial. So take the free trial and watch Prey if you've not seen it. Our continued highlight of the show, Anagram time.
Hey, something I should have been more prepared for and had in front of me, but I hadn't. Hey, delay as much as you can. Here we go. We're back on track. So last week's anagram was chronic fondler. And for those of you who got that right, was Children of the Corn. How did everybody do? Mixed bag? It's quite a difficult one this week.
Yeah, it was a mixed bag this week. No one... There was a few who got it right, but there was I got lots of messages going, for fuck's sake.
That was to be expected. So I'm going to slow things down a little bit this week. I just need to try and separate the men from the boys a little bit. But this week, the anagram is cow herpes, and that is spelled Cowherpes.
Cow herpes.
Cow herpes is this week's anagram.
Wow, what an interesting anagram this week. Cow herpes. Okay, well, have fun with that, everybody. We're back on Friday with news, and we've got a very special edition of news this week. So this week we are joined by director David Liz, who we had on the main show a while back, because we have big news on The Welder, finally.
Yes, very excited to talk about that again.
Very excited to have David Liz back on, and we've got release dates and where you can watch it, and you can all enjoy the movie that we enjoyed almost a year ago. We were lucky.
What was it? Will it be? Because it was February last year, was it not?
Yeah, February, March time. So it's creeping on to a year. Next week on this show, we have the return of one of my favourite guests and someone who's been part of the show since day one, Imitation Dave. And we're going back to movies revisited. So we're revisiting a movie from season 1 when Mark wasn't here. And you all voted for the original Predator movie.
Do you know how coincidental... Excuse me, I'm just joking. Do you know how coincidental that is? It's annoying me as well, because in that poll was Shaun of the Dead, and I was adamant that was going to win.
And at one point, it had 90-something% of the votes. And then it got to the last 3 hours, and Predator just had this massive surge from all of Dave's hidden accounts where he's just like, Predator, 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 Predator.
Which is good. I'm happy the Predators won. I'm happy to now, especially after coming off the back of this, it's going to be interesting for me to then go back and watch a film that I haven't watched since I was probably 12 years old with my dad.
Yeah. And we've never done an episode where we've done in chronological order. So we're doing Prey, which effectively is the first in the franchise, and we're now going into the second in the franchise. We've never done that before on the show, ever.
No. And we've never done an action movie on the show before either.
No, I have, back at the very, very beginning. This was Dave's the very first request we got come from Imitation Dave. Before he was Imitation Dave, he was just Dave, and he requested Predator, which is why we've invited Dave to come on this episode, because it kind of brings everything full circle. Also, that episode will mark 2 years to the day since the You Run podcast began.
Amazing.
So next week, big week. Lots of fun next week. Expect some surprises.
we're taking a week off horror and doing an action film, and yeah,
It's a horror film.
it's not a horror film.
We'll argue it next week. Thank you very much for listening, and we will catch you all next time.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
Before we forget, you want to die tonight?
The cheaper, nastier, the better for me.
Would you have stayed after this?
Sorry, man. I was completely off guard there.
He's in his coffin. He's the undead.
This was the best bit of the film.
This is not the last time someone's going to steal your man.
Yeah, Mark's not a nice guy.
You didn't notice this scene. It looks like he's got an extra leg.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I've literally got nothing here. Surely that'd be even worse. The more listeners we have, the worse that's going to be.
Yeah, but I will just get a new phone.
Oh, I tell a lie, actually. Yeah, because we used to have teletext.
Art the Clown makes Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees look like pussies.
I can only assume that this was due to budgetary reasons and they couldn't afford enough extras.
Are you going to have Buster Rhymes in your list of characters?
Mate, I can't believe you don't know Idle Hands.
I'm going to ram my foot down his fucking throat. It was awesome.
It fucking wasn't awesome.